It's Saturday morning. It's championship predictions. A bit of a tight schedule. So let's get on with it. No Friday night games in the championship, so 3 early kickoffs, 12:30s on the Saturdays, which kick off in like a few hours. So we'll start off with Wrexham against West Brom at the racecourse. Wrexham at home for the first time. I thought they were quite impressive against Southampton. I thought they definitely deserved something from the game. Very cool, very cruel ending for them. Losing Kiefer Moore looks like a bad one, so how they're going to replace him. They have a lot of strikers, but the profile is different. West Brom are a good team. They got off to a winning start against Blackburn. This is going to be a different test. Wrexham going to be up for it. The racecourse going to be up for it. But I think West Brom are a good team, and I think they'll be very, very sort of steady and be very competitive this season. So I'm not going to go for the fairy tale sort of winning start for Wrexham at home. I'm going to go for a draw, one apiece. Next up, Fratton Park, Pompey against Norwich. Portsmouth got off to a very good start. They won away from home, which they didn't do a lot last season. They won at Oxford against a team that could, potentially be sort of in and around them in the league. Norwich got off to a very pretty opposite start. They lost at home to Millwall. I'm going to go for that Fratton Park sort of atmosphere to help Pompey. They were really good at Fratton last year. They were one of the best teams in the league at home last year. I'm going to go for Norwich's tough start to continue. I'm going to go for another defeat for Liam Manning. I'm going to go Pompey 1, Norwich 0. Derby against Coventry. Derby very good at Pride Park last year. A lot of teams in the Championship last year very good at home. Coventry, bit of an indifferent start. They couldn't quite break down Hull at home. It was a 0-0 for them. Derby, a lot of injuries despite a lot of new, good, exciting signings. So they might take a little bit of time to fully get going and might not get used to start like you normally do. So I'm going to go for a second 0-0 in a row for Coventry. I'm going to go for a draw on as even at Pride Park. Blackburn against Birmingham is our first of the 3 p.m.s on Saturday, and I thought Birmingham were very good against Ipswich and probably deserved to get the 3 points. I thought they looked more in control. Maybe didn't create awful lots of chances with the ball, with the amount of ball that they did have, but I thought they were relatively in control and were quite unlucky with the penalty right at the end. And they'll have a feeling of they want to get off to a winning start. They want to get that season properly underway. And, if they can compete like that against one of the best teams in the league in Ipswich, no reason why they can't compete, against Blackburn. There's no disrespect to Blackburn, who lost at West Brom. Reports saying, they were relatively good. They're going to have to be better than that if they are to get something against Birmingham. I think the good feeling about Blues are still there. So I'm going to go for a packed away end. 7,000 plus they're bringing. Mental support. I'm going to go for them to get the first win of the season. I'm going to go for Blackburn 1, Birmingham 2. Next, the game I am going to see in a few hours' time. It is Bristol City against Charlton. Bristol City, absolutely magnificent start. Table toppers, Bristol City, might I add, after game week 1. 4-1 win away at Sheffield United. Charlton got off to a good start themselves. They're going to be compact, they're going to be tight, they're going to be better at home. They're going to be better at the Valley than they would be away from home. I would expect that to be the case, but they're going to make it really horrible. They're going to make it tight. And I think if Charlton can get a goal, they can really trouble Bristol City here. But the exciting, the open, the sort of expansive style that supposedly deploying under Giles Truber, I think they'll probably bode okay against the Charlton side. They'll come and maybe not sit, but press, high intensity, be really organised, be really disciplined. And I think that might be okay for us. So I'm going to go for Bristol City's winning momentum to continue. I'm going to go for us to win by 2-1. Millwall up against Middlesbrough next, the Josh Coburn derby. Millwall got off to a fantastic start. Both teams got off to winning starts. But Millwall, very impressive, going away to Norwich and getting the 3 points. And, Ivanovic, you've got Langstaff there, you've got Josh Coburn, you've got some real options. You've got Aziz, you've got Negley, Alfie Doherty. Looks like a very exciting Millwall team, doesn't it? So I'm going to go, despite Middlesbrough's opening day win, there still seems a bit of chaos. And, it wasn't particularly convincing in Swansea from the stats and stuff like that. So I'm going to go for Millwall, particularly because of the fact that it's at the Den as well, and we're really, up for it, first home game of the season. I'm going to go for them to go for 2 for 2. I'm going to go Millwall 2, Borough 1. Up the Deepdale, and it's Preston up against Leicester. Leicester got off to a winning start against Sheffield Wednesday at the King Power. They were slightly unconvincing, but did create quite a few chances. And, in front of goal was probably their biggest problem. So if they can rectify that, Leicester will definitely be a force. And, we still don't know about the points deductions and stuff like that. But if that's relatively minimal, they'll definitely be a force and be right near the top of the division. Preston got off to a drawing start. They drew away at QPR. Probably a decent point for them, actually. But power of Leicester's squad. I think Cifuentes is a good manager. I think that might just be too much for Preston. So I'm going to go for Preston 0, Leicester 1. Sheffield Wednesday, a club in turmoil, but relatively competitive up against Leicester. They play Stoke at Hillsborough for their first home game of the season. And, I was okay with what Sheffield Wednesday showed up, actually. I thought they were fine. And, they're going to be without Barry Bannon. They're going to be without Nat Chalobah, though. So that's going to take a significant impact. And Stoke were very good on opening day. They beat Derby 3-1. Yeah, okay, Derby significantly depleted because of injuries and stuff, but it was still a decent performance from Stoke, and they got 2 late goals to get them the win. So I'm going to go for a little bit of positive feeling to continue at Stoke, and despite a good performance from Sheffield Wednesday at Leicester, I'm going to go for the squad sort of depletion at Sheffield Wednesday with Chalobah and Bannon in particular. To be their undoing. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday 1, Stoke 2. I was in the middle of editing this and I completely forgot about Swansea against Sheffield United. I went for Desmond in that one, so sorry, Swansea and Sheffield United fans. Sheffield United very opening day. Swansea didn't really pose much of an attacking threat, but at home is going to be a little bit different. I don't know. I think they might get a little bit more joy when they play against Sheffield United. So 2-2. Sorry to both fans. Final 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday is Watford up against QPR. I remember this game for Gareth Ainsworth's comments about the first game of the season a couple of years ago now, where he said Watford, they apparently play the title winners. They lost 4-0. They were horrendous. A lot has changed for QPR since. June Stefan, the new manager, got off to a drawing start against Preston. Watford, late defeat at Charlton. Feels like they've still got a little bit to do and a little bit moulding to do. They were really good at the start of the season at Vicarage Road. I'm going to go for home advantage. I think this is going to be a really tight game, a lot of really difficult games to call. And so I'm going to go for home advantage. I'm going to go Watford 2, QPR 1. 12 p.m. on Sunday is Ipswich against Southampton. Bit of a weird kickoff time, but there we go. 2 new relegated teams from the Premier League, and Ipswich have certainly caused Southampton their fair share of problems late on in games. A lot of sort of stoppage time goals. Jeremy Sarmiento won the Championship. There was one up in the Premier League where Sam Morsey scored one late on, an equaliser at St Mary's. This is at Portman Road. Ipswich got a bit unconvincing against Birmingham. I don't know. I feel like they probably need a little bit more time to fully bed, especially that midfield. The Matt Seawer and Jack Taylor, I think, wasn't it, started? Didn't have the best of games. They need someone else in there. Southampton, I thought, got away with it a little bit, but on the balance of things, was it a fair result? They've created enough. They had a lot of control. Obviously, possession doesn't equal, quality or, how much you deserve to win the game, but I thought they were okay in that side of things. I'm going to go for these 2 teams to cancel each other out at Portman Road. I'm going to go Ipswich 2, Southampton 2. And finally, up to the MKM is Hull against Oxford to wrap things up. Hull got off to a decent start away at Coventry, getting a draw, giving a clean sheet, looking defensively solid. On top of that, you've got the likes of McBurney coming into the team. They've got options. Balumi might come back sooner rather than later from his ACL injury. So you've got attacking options coming back for Sahaya Kuric. And you've still got Liam Millar waiting on the reserves as well. So things are looking okay for Hull, actually, despite, some serious chaos in the summer. Oxford got off to a pretty bad start, didn't they? They lost at home to Pompey. And for a side in Pompey who, if you're going to be trying to survive, you're probably looking at a side like that to try and catch and try not to lose at home against. Particularly, don't be losing games like that at home. So a really disappointing start for Oxford. I'm going to go for the exact same scoreline they lost by against Pompey. And despite Hull not being very good at home last season, I'm going to go for that to change a little bit. I'm going to go Hull 1, Oxford 0. But that is it. Thank you very much for watching my championship predictions. Get yours in the comment section down below if you have the time before the 12:30s today. But yeah, off to Bristol City versus Charlton very soon. Watch my matchday vlog for that. But yeah, like, subscribe, all the good stuff, comment, and get your thoughts in on round 2 for the championship after a very intriguing round 1. And I'll probably give you an update on how I do in both rounds when I do it next week. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.